Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. We talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Ernst Jeffrey. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our video. The other college football playoff semifinal game is between the Texas Longhorns and the Washington Huskies. This is a highly anticipated game as well. It might not be the headliner like the Alabama-Michigan game is, but there are still going to be a lot of eyeballs on this game at 8:45 p.m. on ESPN. And me and WillND, we break down this other playoff semifinal game and whether we think that the underdogs in the Washington Huskies, the team a lot of people did not believe in until they were able to go undefeated throughout Pac-12 play. They knocked off the Oregon Ducks twice, including winning over the Ducks in the Pac-12 championship game. Can Michael Penix Jr., the runner-up in the Heisman race, can he lead the Huskies along with Kalen Deboer at head coach and be able to lead the Washington Huskies to this playoff semifinal victory over the Texas Longhorns? Or will the Texas Longhorns, because they're favored, be able to flex their muscle and show that they're back and get their first playoff win in their first playoff appearance? As Steve Sarkisan, along with Quinn Ewers, will be able to knock off the Washington Huskies and be able to move on to the national title game. It took me and WillND a bit of thought to figure out who we thought would win, but here is our prediction.
Now we got the second semifinal, Texas and Washington.
Doesn't have as much hype, but this is still a massive game. Florida State got spurned, which is tough. You know, both these teams got in. Alabama got in. But this is a better matchup. We all know it. If Florida State was in, it would not be as good of a game. Both these teams are fantastic. I've said all year I thought Oregon was better than Washington. I still do, but Washington won the games. Happy for Michael Penix. This close to winning the Heisman. They gave it to Jay Daniels in the stats, but Penix won the games. They could have given it to him. He could have won the Heisman. Then the highlight for Indiana, that their guy went to another school on the Heisman. But that would have been huge. But he fell short. But he had a great year. Dylan Johnson, great year on the ground. Roma Dunze, just video game stats. 1,400 yards, 13 touchdowns. Polk's great. McMillan, they got a fantastic offense. The key to this game, though, is Washington is going to have to score a lot because the defense, if Ewers doesn't have a bad game, which sometimes he's prone to have, we've seen it before, but Washington's defense has to slow down Texas enough because I think Washington can score in the 30s in this game. I know Texas has a good D-line. That's a scary thing. Texas has a good D-line. They might get to Penix more than they did last year in the Alamo Bowl, like you mentioned, Will, before we went on. These two teams played last year. Washington won. Texas is better this year. Defense is better this year. But if Washington's O-line can keep Penix upright and they can get in the 30s, I think they can win because, like I said, Texas, Ewers sometimes struggles to put up a lot of points in big games. I know he did against Alabama on the road, and he's been more consistent this year, but sometimes he's still inconsistent.
Yeah, I think the trick for this game is can Washington put the defensive performance that they did in the Pac-12 title game with all their players back? Will their players that came back be as big of a factor as they were in that game? That's the big thing with this one. Because people were like their defense was so bad, but like they were missing a lot of players that weren't healthy until that conference title game.
For sure. I think when you look at Washington, though, I mean, their defense is probably potentially the weakest side of the ball of any side of the ball of any team in the playoff. Like, their defense is the question mark because we know they can play and there's talent there. But Washington's offense is what got all the storylines and headlines this year. I mean, yeah, Washington's defense helped them win. I think it wasn't at the Stanford game or whatever. They won 10-7. It was one of those games. They had a game where they only won 10-7 against a bad team. I think it was Stanford. But other than that, their defense didn't help them win a lot of games. I guess you could say the Washington State game. They survived 24-21. And that's another thing. Washington had a lot of scares. I know Alabama barely beat Auburn. I know Michigan barely beat Maryland, but Washington had a lot of bad games this year. A lot of games, that they were playing bottom of the barrel Pac-12 teams and they barely won or they were letting them hang around. Which is what I think a lot of people don't think Washington is as good as Oregon. Or that's why Washington's a 4-point underdog. I just think, like Jeff says, I think Washington has scored a lot to win. You see Steven's prediction, Washington 48-35, Jason Washington 38-31. They have to score that much. If Washington only puts up 28-31, they're not winning it, more than likely. I bet against Michael Penix in the Pac-12 championship game. And I bet against them the first time around against Oregon. But this is Texas, though. Are they back? Are they back? Can Quinn Ewers get it done? I'm going to go with Washington 38-35. I'm going to back Michael Penix. I could be wrong. I almost went Texas because I know how much talent they have. But are they back? Can Ewers get it done? Can they, get all that behind them? Can Brooks on the ground control, the line of scrimmage, get Texas easy yards where Ewers isn't having to do it all? I think Washington's going to show up because not a lot of people probably believe they're going to win. I think that they're going to find a way to win 38-35 with a late touchdown pass from Penix to Adunze.
I agree with you, Jeffrey. I do think that Washington's defense, they're going to play. They're not going to be perfect, of course. But I do think that they're going to be able to do just enough to get enough stops. And Texas secondary is bad. I mean, they're not good.
Which is going to help out Adunze and Polk big time.
Yeah. And we saw how bad they were against Oklahoma. That wasn't a great Oklahoma team. I picked them to lose to Arizona in their bowl game. And they made their receivers look really good. So I do believe that Washington will do enough. I do think that they'll win 52-35 over Texas.
Wow, that's a lot of points. Yeah. Man, if Penix has a big day, 400-something yards, and they score 52, a lot of people be like, he should have won the Heisman.
Yeah.
He should have won the Heisman. But, I mean, that would be fantastic for Washington to score 52. If they do score 52, they're easily winning. But that's a good point about that Oklahoma game because I thought Texas had the game. I thought, they scored, they're going to win. And then they let Gabriel go down the field. Yeah. Easy. Just score a touchdown. I'm like, are you kidding me? You lost. And then people are still like, Texas is so much better than Alabama. They're so much better. And I'm like, they lost to Oklahoma. Are you kidding me? Like, I know Texas won head-to-head. That's why they're in the playoffs, why they're over Alabama. That's why they got the 3 seed. But they lost to Oklahoma. I know they did good over Oklahoma State. I know they did good over Texas State at the end of the year. But Texas is not perfect. They deserve to be in the playoffs. They did a great job. The head-to-head went over Bama should matter. But Texas is a vulnerable team. And like you said, that secondary, Penix is a big day. Like I said, they got to keep them upright. The Texas D-line's good. But if they do keep them upright, Washington should be able to win. This is going to be a great game, though. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Comment down below whether you think that the Texas Longhorns or the Washington Huskies will be able to win their first college football playoff game, and what you think about me and WillND's pick for this college football playoff semifinal matchup. Follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I'll see you next time.